As you heard today's gospel, did you feel uncomfortable? Were you shifting in your seat? Were you gazing awkwardly into space? Well, that parable Jesus tells doesn't pack a dose of sweet comfort, that's for sure, but it challenges us outrageously in a spot where we're most tender. The trouble that we have with forgiveness. Incredible. The story has two scenes. First, inside the throne room of a powerful king. Second, just outside in a palace corridor. Moreover, the story tells of two worlds. The world as we know it, and the world as God wants it. The throne room changes in a moment from the world we know to the world as God wants it. That palace corridor, however, starts out as the world that we know, but fails to become the world as God wants it. The throne room, as I said, starts out as the world as we know it. It's a world of calculation and control. The boss man is reviewing accounts, and somebody, a slave, owes him big time, really big time. The slave gets called on the carpet, but it's only a formality. No way can this loser pay back what he owes. It's a bad debt. Might as well sell this guy. His house, his car, his boat, his wife, his kids, to get a couple of pennies on the dollar. This guy is ruined. Financially, he's as dead as a doornail. Everybody there in the room, in the throne room, thinks his appearance is a mere formality. Everybody, that is, except him. Upon hearing the sentence imposed on him by the banker king, this guy drops to his knees, weeps, wails, writhes around, crying out for mercy. He makes promises he knows he can never keep. It's a pathetic sight. It's so useless. This is, after all, a bottom line world, eh? The king's guards are not soldiers in plumed hats holding lances. No, they're guys in suits holding calculators. The cold steel they're not carrying. Or rather, they're carrying it in their hearts. Do you know this world of calculation and control? Have you ever been there, filling in one role or another? Are you there today? Well, in the story, Jesus tells something unexpected happens. The king drops dead. No, I don't mean literally, right there on the red carpet in front of the throne, but it might as well be that way. The king drops dead to the world as we know it, that world of calculation and control. Against the advice his accountants and lawyers would have given him, had he bothered to ask them, he goes with his gut and he forgives the poor slob his astronomical debt. To add to the excitement, the poor slob drops dead again. I don't mean literally, although it might as well have been. He dies to the world of calculation and control that a moment before had been like an entire mountain on his chest. He's now living somewhere else. So too is the boss man. Well, there we are, my friends. If the cross of Christ and the Christian life means anything, this is what they mean. That we are dead and so is God. By forgiving us the sins that we cannot make up on our own, God dies to the world of power and control. God's not playing the same game. God's taking a one-way trip out of here. There's a part of Christianity that's scandalous, shocking, and hopeful. It's good news. Hot off the presses for anybody who even suspects that God is the great bully in the sky. Now God has died to all that. His throne room is not a centre for calculation and control. God is dead to that sort of world. so are we. We are pulled out from beneath that mountain which was resting on our chests. We are dead to the world of calculation and control that once held us captive. We're out the door and down the street. But what happens next to the guy in the story? His learning curve is, well, pretty pathetic. He's not even outside the building when he runs into somebody who owes him something. There, in the palace corridor, he grabs the fellow by the collar and tries unsuccessfully to shake the money out of him. Welcome back to the world of calculation and control, eh? The second debtor, though, does his own song and dance, pleading for mercy. Is anybody going to die this time? Well, there'll be corpses in the corridor. You'd think it would be a no-brainer for the forgiven debtor to remember that as of a few minutes ago, he was dead to the world of calculation and control, and that he should act accordingly in dealing with his debtor out there in the corridor. You'd think that mercy received would result in mercy given. But that doesn't happen. Instead, he has a strategically timed bout of amnesia, forgets he's dead, and acts out of the world of calculation and control as though it were a big chance for Broadway. He refuses to show mercy. He fails to help his debtor die to a world of oppression instead. He's ready to boot him to the nearest prison for what will be, well, an indefinite stay. The palace corridor remains stuck. It remains in the world of calculation and control. Here, we get to the heart of why forgiveness is hard. We suffer strategically timed amnesia. We conveniently forget, or maybe we've never acknowledged that we are forgiven sinners, debtors who've been let off the hook. We don't admit that the king has dropped dead to the world of power and control, so that we might have another chance, and another, and another. We don't realise that if faith means anything, it means we're free from this world of control and calculation, dead to it all and all it claims, thanks to a king who died for us. And so anyone who crosses our path, even just outside the throne room, will get a taste of calculation and control. And it will be bitter. Christianity states that forgiveness is necessary. It's not an option, but an imperative. Christianity also makes it clear that forgiveness is hard. It is costly. There's nothing soft and sentimental about it. The one who forgives dies to the world as we know it in order to usher in the world as God wants it. This death brings with it a challenge to the one forgiven. That one is then confronted with the imperative of dying to the world as we know it in order to accept forgiveness, an imperative to pass on the gift of forgiveness. By accepting and passing on forgiveness, such as one bears witness to the scandalous truth that yes, everybody's a sinner and everybody is forgiven by a mercy that is God-sized. It's easy to fall prey to strategically timed amnesia and forget to forgive. That's why Christians gather Sunday by Sunday to celebrate the Eucharist. Here, we present time after time, through prayerful word and action, how the King died on a cross, died to the world of calculation and control, died to the world as we know it, in order to set us free from a debt we could never pay. We gather here in this throne room, wherever it is, wherever we're sitting this day, watching this, and the King drops dead, and we drop dead too. We're out of that world of control and calculation that once held us captive. Then the time arrives to leave this throne room and go elsewhere. We meet someone who needs our mercy. Will we die again to the world of calculation and control? Will we die so that our debtor can die to that world? Or will we fall victim to strategically timed amnesia? There's the challenge. We can have the ancient pattern of the world as we know it, a life that feels like death, or we can die to the world as we know it.